Welcome back to Seriously. Halt and Catch Fire tells the story of a group of visionaries in the 1980s and 90s tech world, chasing innovation, building groundbreaking companies, and navigating intense rivalries. Amid coding breakthroughs and business battles, they also face personal struggles, complicated relationships, and the cost of ambition. Here's a recap of their journey, so make sure to grab some snacks. In 1983, Texas, Joe MacMillan, a sharp and ruthless former IBM salesman, sets out to reverse engineer the IBM PC and build a competing machine. His cold approach is hinted at when an armadillo is struck by a speeding Ferrari, symbolizing the ruthless tech world he's entering. Joe begins recruiting talent, spotting Cameron Howe, a rebellious computer science student, at a lecture and later at an arcade. Their first meeting is tense. Joe implies she might have a job and Cameron punches him, showing she won't be pushed around. His main focus is Donna Clark, a skilled engineer at Cardiff Electric working on dull but profitable software. Joe persuades Gordon to join his mission despite legal worries and marital stress. They secretly map the PC's assembly code in a garage. When IBM discovers their work, they threaten legal action, forcing Cardiff to legitimize the project. To complete the software, Cardiff hires Cameron, coaching her to hide her background. Meanwhile, John Bosworth vows to uncover Joe's secrets as IBM's legal team arrives. After surviving IBM's visit, Joe's team faces the challenge of building a new computer while navigating internal tension. Joe lies to IBM lawyers, claiming the project came from his bosses, not IBM. Cameron, tasked with recreating the BIOS, refuses to touch the binder, calling it garbage, but Joe reassures her they're legally safe. Joe promises a machine twice as fast and half the price of existing PCs, which Gordon doubts is possible. Cameron complains the work is boring, while Joe motivates the Cardiff bullpen with a Steve Jobs quote. She's placed in a clean room with a lawyer to isolate her from tainted engineers. Listening to punk music, Cameron eventually devises a shortcut around the traditional BIOS process. Gordon struggles with work stress and personal tasks, including dealing with an injured bird. Joe envisions a portable laptop and visits a failing electronics store for insight. Cameron briefly disappears, taking clothes from a mall, but returns with a breakthrough, reigniting the team's belief in the project. The Cardiff Electric team struggles to build a portable computer under 15 pounds, driven by Joe MacMillan's ambitious vision. Gordon wrestles with personal stress, caring for a sick bird outside his home, which mirrors his emotional detachment. A minor car accident with his neighbor Brian leads Gordon to fire him, showing his low tolerance for mistakes. At the office, Joe pitches the briefcase-sized PC to a small, skeptical team in the newly dubbed Kill Room, reflecting the high-pressure environment. Cameron works on the tricky BIOS, but distracts herself with parties, punk music, stealing a soda, and getting a tattoo. She later visits Joe for emotional support, hinting at their growing connection. Joe tries to secure funding from investor Louise Lutherford, but his aggressive behavior with her companion causes her to pull out. Donna steps in with a clever idea to split the motherboard, helping the design move forward. Later, frustrated by Gordon's indecision, Donna kills the injured bird herself. The Cardiff Electric team hits a major setback when Cameron's nearly finished BIOS appears destroyed by a power surge, putting the project at risk. Unbeknownst to the team, Joe orchestrated the whole incident, swapping the backup floppies with unrelated data and burning the IBM BIOS binder to show they were moving past IBM. Cameron panics as the team scrambles to recover the lost work. Donna steps in, using her technical skills to manually reconstruct about 93% of the BIOS from the magnetic storage, carefully deducing the file structure. Joe instructs her to use the fake name Susan Fairchild when speaking to the reporter Ron, turning the crisis into a positive story. Later, Donna confronts Joe, confirming the BIOS was never truly lost. Cameron, shaken and frustrated by the incident and the teasing from the Clark children, resists taking revenge. Despite the chaos, the team salvages the project. Donna faces probation at work for unrelated errors, and Joe is pulled over and roughed up by police, likely as a warning from Bosworth. Joe pushes through his injuries, swinging a bat as a symbol of his relentless drive despite setbacks. Back at the office, he and Bosworth entertain potential buyers, while Cameron returns from vacation to find a new team of coders in place. The prototype computer is still too heavy, so Gordon suggests using an LCD screen, reaching out to his father-in-law, Gary Clark, for connections with the Japanese company Kazoku. Gordon's meeting with Kazoku goes badly when he gets drunk and insults the representatives, but the deal is later saved thanks to Gary's intervention. Meanwhile, Cameron clashes with her supervisor, Steve, and proves her leadership by running a coding test using the game Adventure, identifying top talent and securing Steve's removal. Joe's estranged father visits and meets Cameron, sharing experiences of war and loss while warning her that Joe's ambition could ruin everything around him. The Cardiff Electronics team celebrates finishing their prototype computer, but tensions flare when Cameron pushes to make it interactive, giving it a personality. Gordon worries this will destabilize the system and undo his careful work. Meanwhile, Joe struggles with his relationship with Cameron after she questions the truth behind his scars. A severe storm in Texas sets the stage for personal revelations. Joe visits Gordon's house to celebrate, bonding with Donna and the kids, which helps helps him see the emotional value in Cameron's vision. Later, he confronts Cameron about her interactive operating system, and after seeing her prototype, he opens up about his past, revealing his scars came from falling off a roof while his intoxicated mother let go of his hand during stargazing. Joe sides with Cameron, giving her idea support and shifting team dynamics. Meanwhile, Gordon tries to buy a Cabbage Patch Kid for his daughter, falls victim to a scam, and ends up witnessing a man electrocuted by a downed power line. On the other hand, Joe and Cameron share a passionate kiss. Joe brings in Simon Church, an old flame and industrial designer, to create the case for Cardiff Electric's new PC, sparking tension with Gordon and Cameron. Gordon feels sidelined as Joe insists on a bold new design, and Cameron worries about Joe's history of losing interest in people. Simon initially leaves over Joe's relationship with Cameron, but returns after revealing he is terminally ill, agreeing to help design the PC. Cameron confronts Simon at a photography event where he warns her that Joe may eventually leave her. Meanwhile, Donna goes on a business trip and after a misunderstanding, kisses her boss, creating awkwardness at home. Gordon's mental state worsens in her absence. He destroys parts of the house, cuts his hand, and tells his daughters the story of the Cardiff giant, paralleling his feelings of being exploited. He later digs a large hole in the backyard, symbolizing his unraveling. Financially, Cardiff Electric struggles, and Bosworth fails to secure a loan. The PC is then named the Giant. The Cardiff team gets ready to show their giant at ComX in Las Vegas. Bosworth grows uneasy as money runs out and convinces Cameron to secretly pull cash from owner Nathan's account, planning to pay it back after launch. The plan collapses when the FBI raids the office, arrests Bosworth, and shuts the company down. As agents move in, engineer Gordon tears the giant apart and hides the pieces. That night, he sneaks back inside to recover them. Joe plans for ComX until he hears rumors that IBM is building a portable PC. He flies to New York to confront his father, a senior IBM executive. After a tense talk, Joe accepts an offer to lead IBM's portable project. Back in Texas, he learns Gordon wants to take the giant parts to ComX to force attention. Joe sells his car to fund the trip, and Donna goes with the team. The Cardiff Electric crew reaches Las Vegas for ComX, ready to show off the giant. Their plans fall apart fast when frozen accounts cancel their hotel and booth. Joe then pretends to be an IBM executive and scams his way into a luxury suite. Meanwhile, Cameron turns the booth into a mystery party, hiring models to pull in crowds, but the giant refuses to start and Gordon and Donna scramble to fix it. Joe chooses bluffing over failure, pitching the broken machine as a spectacle while the party distracts everyone. Cameron meets a young programmer from Palo Alto who invites her to California, and Joe hints they could go together. By morning, the giant boots. On the floor, they run into Hunt and Brian, showing a cheaper, faster clone called the Slingshot. Gordon panics and swaps Cameron's custom system for MS-DOS. Cameron is crushed, but Joe agrees it must survive. Joe and Gordon convince company owner Nathan to give them 4% each after Joe gives an emotional speech about legacy and family. They finally have equal power, but the piece is short. Joe wants to delay shipping the giant to build a must-have program, while Gordon pushes to ship immediately and move on. Cameron feels done with Cardiff and quits her phone company job after learning it plans to build its own network. She starts a new idea and recruits Yo-Yo and Lev to experiment with faster data over phone lines, quietly forming Mutiny. Donna, tired of being ignored, intentionally gets herself fired from Cardiff. Gordon picks her up in his new Porsche, and she later joins Cameron after hearing about Mutiny's boss-free setup. Everything collapses when Joe realizes every coder has left Cardiff for Cameron. Spiraling, he drives the shipment of giants out of town and burns it. In 1983, Joe starts the day playing a racing game with Cameron before work, showing his restless drive. By March 1985, time jumps forward. Joe now lives with his new girlfriend, Sarah, expecting a payout after Cardiff is sold. Instead, owner Nathan rips up Joe's check, blaming him for the chaos he left behind. Gordon, now president of Cardiff, prepares to walk away after the sale. Unsure of his future, he talks about starting a small investment business from his garage while learning how to be more present as a dad. Across town, Donna and Cameron run Mutiny, a growing online gaming company struggling with server crashes, blackouts, and clashing priorities. Their game Parallax keeps failing, but Donna sees promise in a new chat feature. They scramble for fixes, run extension cords everywhere, and even steal computers, only to find cheap knockoffs. Cameron visits Bosworth after his release, reconnecting. Quietly, Joe and Sarah meet her father Jacob, the CEO of West Group Energy. He looks over Joe's messy past, but still offers him a job. Joe refuses, then accepts, only to learn he is stuck doing low-level data entry. At Mutiny, Donna shows Cameron a new chat system called Community, but Cameron is unimpressed. Cameron hires John Bosworth, newly released from prison, to manage daily operations. At home, Gordon loads Mutiny's game tank battle and fixates on a bug, eventually calling coders with the solution. Donna and Cameron pitch investors for expansion, but are shut down by a sexist venture capitalist. The team learns their hit game Parallax is being copied and shared for free. Donna and Cameron track down the hacker, Tom Rendon. Cameron hires him after he proves a clever phone line trick. Later, Bosworth finds a personal letter and tells Cameron Mutiny is not right for him. Gordon builds a program called Sonaris to measure how big Mutiny's network has become. John Bosworth reunites with his ex-wife Ginny for the first time since prison. She warns him to stay away from their son James's rehearsal dinner, but he shows up anyway, hoping to reconnect. Back at Mutiny, Donna notices her chat system community is growing fast and pulling in new users. Joe and his fiancée Sarah move back to Dallas and invite Gordon and Donna Clark over for dinner, which everyone awkwardly agrees to. Trouble hits when Mutiny is suddenly infected by mystery malware. Cameron orders an emergency shutdown and hacker Tom Rendon traces the damage. He realizes Sonaris caused it. Cameron explodes at Gordon, accusing him of crossing a line. Gordon fires back that Mutiny only survives because Donna pays the bills. The next morning, Cameron panics, but Tom calms her. Gordon apologizes to Donna. Joe pitches a plan at West Group to use its mainframe for time sharing after hours, but an executive shuts it down. At Mutiny, Cameron and Donna tell the coders the Sonaris mess leaves them broke and unable to pay salaries, yet several choose to stay anyway. Bosworth studies the books and offers to personally visit subscribers to win them back. Joe brings Gordon into his time-sharing idea, and Gordon agrees as long as Mutiny becomes the first client. Tension between Cameron and Donna spikes when Cameron wants to cut the community feature. While playing dart tag, Tom, Rendon, and Cameron spark an idea for a multiplayer shooter. Joe admits to Gordon he plans to secretly run time-sharing on West Group's system to prove it works before telling Jacob. The next morning, Gordon tells Donna he secured a network partner from Mutiny, and she stares at a pregnancy test alone. When Donna questions Gordon about Mutiny's new network deal, he admits the service is secretly leased from Joe. At a doctor visit, Gordon is diagnosed with toxic encephalopathy, caused by years of lead solder and past drug use during the giant build. The news rattles him, but he keeps it from Donna. Because Donna wants a written contract, Gordon pushes Joe to finally tell Jacob, Sarah's father, and the head of West Group, about the time-sharing plan. Even though Joe ran it without permission, Jacob is intrigued and asks to meet someone from Mutiny. Joe wants Donna to help pitch, but she refuses, saying Mutiny belongs to Cameron. Despite her dislike of Joe, Cameron meets Jacob and shows how the service works. Afterwards, Sarah watches Cameron confront Joe, accusing him of using West Group for personal gain. Joe insists it is business. Joe signs a prenup, but Sarah says need space. Jacob tells Joe he rewrites Mutiny's network deal, raising the hourly cost from $3 to $5. Gordon takes his daughters to California to visit his brother Henry. There, Gordon admits his illness and reconnects with Henry's former girlfriend Jules, and their bond turns into an affair. Joe visits Mutiny to explain the higher rate, but Donna explodes at him, and Joe responds by pulling Mutiny offline. Donna later goes to West Group to apologize. Joe offers a cheaper rate if Mutiny hits strict goals, including moving their system to the AT&T Unix PC. Tom suggests faking the demo and fixing things later, but Joe quickly catches on. After previously lying to her mother about a miscarriage, Donna asks Cameron to drive her to an abortion clinic. Despite the trick, Joe is impressed by Mutiny's coaxial cable data transfer and pitches to Jacob the idea of buying the company soon after. Gordon finally tells Donna about his illness, but he plays it down and avoids the worst details. Joe arrives at Mutiny with a formal buyout offer from West Group. Cameron fires up the coders, calls it selling out, and rips up the contract. Gordon quietly starts a new plan, pulling in old Cardiff co-workers Ed and Larry to sell custom-built PCs directly. Joe talks separately with Bosworth and hacker Tom, hoping they can convince Cameron to reconsider. Curious, the coders tape the torn contract back together. Once they realize how much it is worth, they pressure Cameron, and she agrees to sell. After a small celebration, Joe learns Jacob plans to remove game development from Mutiny. Feeling betrayed, Joe warns Cameron and tells her to walk away, promising to step back. Joe reconciles with Sarah, who wants to marry and move to California. That morning, Cameron says Mutiny stays independent. Donna scolds Cameron for refusing to sell Mutiny to West Group. Joe and Sarah tell Jacob they secretly got married, and Joe quits his job. As Mutiny plans a customer party, Cameron and hacker Tom finish their new game, Extract and Defend. Gordon's side business falls apart when Ed and Larry walk out, worried about his mental state. While packing to leave Dallas, Sarah finds a bag of party pills and suggests one last night out. Gordon spots an ad for another PC builder and suspects an old co-worker, Stan, sabotaged him. He breaks into Stan's garage and gets arrested after being caught. Joe and Sarah sneak into West Group's data center to hook up, where Joe discovers West Group copied Mutiny's design to build WestNet. After the party ends, Donna and Cameron talk about Community's future, only to learn the coders are locked out of the system. Mutiny refuses to believe Joe. Donna and Cameron talk through legal moves against West Group, and Cameron decides to sell their game Extract and Defend to keep Mutiny alive. Tom feels betrayed since she makes the call alone and their relationship ends. Joe bails Gordon out of jail. Gordon looks into the PC company he thinks stole his idea, but he blanks out and forgets where he parked. At a West Group shareholder meeting, Joe gives a big speech about WestNet and publicly credits Cameron. Unknown to him, Cameron secretly uploads Sonaris to West Group's mainframe, crashing systems and disrupting operations. While searching for his car, Gordon falls downstairs and injures his ankle. A doctor tells Donna that Gordon's issues go beyond brain damage and include severe stress. Gordon finally admits he needs help. Sarah accuses Joe of still caring for Cameron Cameron and ruining WestNet on purpose. Bosworth tells Cameron he is leaving Mutiny for his son. After the WestNet disaster, Jacob is removed as West Group CEO, and Sarah files for divorce from Joe. Seeking independence, Cameron finds a used IBM 3033 mainframe in California for Mutiny to host its network. Donna discovers Gordon's affair, which causes their older daughter, Joni, to run away. Feeling guilty about Joe's troubles, Gordon creates a counter-program to remove Sonaris from infected systems and protect them from future attacks. Bosworth, regretful about leaving Mutiny, returns to the team. Donna tells Gordon that to save their family, they need to move to California, work for Mutiny, and fix the mainframe Cameron found. Using Gordon's program, Joe secures $10 million in venture capital and tries to recruit Gordon for his new company, but Gordon chooses Mutiny instead. A month later, the Mutiny team boards a plane to San Francisco to start fresh, while Joe scouts prime office space in the Bay Area for his new venture, MacMillan Utility. If you're enjoying this deep dive into Halt and Catch Fire, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, because the drama, the tech, and yes, even the awkward family moments are just too good to miss. 6 months after moving to California, Mutiny finally gets its mainframe up and running. Cameron announces that the company has crossed 100,000 subscribers, a milestone that excites everyone, but it doesn't last long. Donna reads a harsh article about Mutiny and realizes they need something fresh to keep up in Silicon Valley. Ryan Ray, a new coder, points out vulnerabilities in their private chat system and proposes a fix. However, his approach makes Donna and Cameron uneasy because he broke Mutiny's rules by hacking the private chats to test the code. Meanwhile, Gordon vents his anger over Joe exploiting his antivirus idea for profit. Reviewing the chat logs, Donna and Cameron notice that users are using the private chat for direct transactions. They see an opportunity to turn this into a trading platform, thinking it could be the next big thing. Joe holds a press conference at the Castro Theater, announcing MacMillan Utility's new antivirus program, Citadel, will be free. The audience cheers, and Ryan leaves inspired. Donna and Cameron try to secure venture capital for their new platform, Mutiny Exchange. Gordon decides to mentor Ryan, sensing a kindred spirit, but Ryan seeks out Joe instead. After a terrible meeting with a sexist venture capitalist, Donna and Cameron meet Diane Gould, someone Donna knows from their kids' school. During Mutiny's pitch, Diane reveals SwapMeet, a company with the same idea and an 18-month head start. Instead of competing, Mutiny offers to buy them out. Ryan finally meets Joe to pitch why he wants to work at MacMillan Utility. At the same time, Gordon faces a deposition over a lawsuit against Joe. Joe interrupts, offering Gordon a 70% stake in MacMillan Utility if he drops the suit and partners with him, but Gordon refuses. Joe then calls Ryan, inviting him to join MacMillan Utility. Ryan accepts, leaving Gordon stunned. Cameron tries to convince Ryan to stay, but he is determined to work with Joe. Meanwhile, Donna and Gordon's marriage hits rough patches, boiling over into a heated argument during a project meeting. Diane accompanies Bosworth to SwapMeet to finalize the buyout. Mutiny initially plans to pay $600,000, but Bosworth realizes the operation is bare bones and negotiates the price down nearly by half. At MacMillan Utility, Joe takes Ryan to a senior board meeting. The board decides to start charging $14.95 for Citadel, which angers Ryan since Joe promised it would be free. Joe responds by assigning Ryan to a special project at his apartment to explore a new revenue stream. Later, Joe confronts Cameron after her guest lecture at a college, thanking her for unintentionally ruining his career and helping him succeed. Back at Mutiny, Gordon and Donna apologize for their earlier fight but start arguing again when Cameron decides to take over Ryan's duties. At Mutiny, tensions rise between Cameron and Doug and Craig, the former SwapMeet owners. Cameron struggles with incorporating SwapMeet's code while maintaining control, and Diane warns Donna that if Cameron and Doug don't fix their differences, the partnership could fail. Meanwhile, Joe and Ryan brainstorm new ventures from Joe's apartment. Gordon tries to ease friction between the Mutiny and SwapMeet teams by taking them to an arcade for laser tag. Cameron ultimately decides to implement SwapMeet's changes, but secretly plans to fire Doug and Craig. Donna lies to her, claiming Diane won't allow the firing. At MacMillan Utility, Joe's team loses a major contract with General Atomics after Joe is insulted by a homophobic executive during renegotiations. Despite setbacks, Joe gives Ryan access to ARPANET, asking him to map the network before their security clearance is revoked. At Mutiny, coders find that users want a way to conduct cash transactions on SwapMeet. Doug and Craig have been working on credit card acceptance, but Cameron is reluctant to implement it. Donna pushes for it, hoping to improve the platform. At Joe's apartment, he explores NSFNET for potential, while Ryan thinks it's a waste since commercial use isn't allowed. During Independence Day weekend, Bosworth and Cameron return to Dallas. Bosworth wants to see his newborn grandson, and Cameron hopes to reclaim her father's motorcycle. She also reconciles with her ex, Tom. When her father's motorcycle is sold, Bosworth and Cameron argue, and he returns to San Francisco alone. Donna approves Doug and Craig's credit card interface, but Cameron disagrees when she returns. At MacMillan Utility, Joe insists on focusing on NSFNet to create a regional network. Cameron learns that Donna lied about Diane supporting her decision on the SwapMeet coders. At MacMillan Utility, Joe and Ryan start setting up their regional network. Back at Mutiny, Cameron fires Doug and Craig, surprising Donna. Diane advises that Mutiny consider going public after an acquisition offer from CompuServe. Diane suggests a weekend in Sonoma to relax and think through the IPO. Joe pitches his NSFNET plan to the board. Though initially disapproved, the NSFNET sector chief gives Joe the green light in a handshake deal. Donna takes Diane up on her offer, while Cameron stays home to bond with Gordon, who opens up about his medical issues and frustrations with Joe. Cameron later meets Joe to push for Gordon's credit, and she moves out, revealing she married Tom. MacMillan Utilities Board later votes to terminate the NSFNET project and revoke Joe's executive authority. During a deposition, Joe admits he stole Gordon's idea, leading to his ousting. He tells Ryan the project is on hold. Gordon learns about NSFNET after confronting Joe. Donna and Cameron agree to pursue an IPO, and Cameron presents a business plan to improve Mutiny before going public. Donna worries the plan could take 2 years, while the IPO window is 3 months. After a meeting, Diane, Gordon, and Bosworth side with Donna, leaving Cameron shocked. Ryan, losing trust in Joe, leaks Citadel's source code to make it truly free. Joe warns him it's illegal, but Ryan is confident he can cover his tracks. Ryan faces an FBI investigation under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Donna, Diane, and Bosworth work on moving Mutiny's IPO forward without Cameron. Meanwhile, NSFNET's future is jeopardized due to Ryan's actions. Joe turns to Cameron to track Ryan, eventually finding him at a college library. Tom tells Cameron his company wants him to move to Tokyo, and she decides to go with him. Ryan later returns to Joe's apartment. Joe gives him a choice: stay a fugitive and lose the network, or turn himself in for redemption. Either way, they can't work together again. Mutiny's IPO launches but trades well below expectations. The next morning, the FBI confronts Joe, only to find Ryan has committed suicide. Devastated, Joe tells Gordon to complete the regional network without him. 4 years later, Mutiny has folded. Donna and Gordon are divorced. Gordon has finished the NSFNET regional network, and Donna is a senior partner at Diane's venture capital firm. She reaches out to Joe with a proposition for Cameron, but he refuses to be the middleman. Cameron now works at Atari and goes to ComX in Las Vegas to promote her new game, Space Bike 4. Joe shows up, reconnecting with Cameron at an Atari suite party. Donna is also present, trying to pitch her project and make amends, but Cameron refuses to listen. Joe comforts Cameron, and they end up sleeping together. Before leaving Las Vegas, Cameron reconsiders Donna's proposal. When Joe returns to San Francisco, he reads Donna's facts about a new project, the World Wide Web. Donna sets up a meeting in the old Mutiny offices with Joe, Gordon, Cameron, and Tom to discuss the potential of the web. Each has different ideas and concerns. Joe reveals he met Tim Berners-Lee in Paris and received the hypertext toolkit for the web. The discussion ends in a stalemate. Cameron visits Bosworth, questioning the project, and he tells her that the project must be worthwhile if it got everyone together. The next day, Joe writes out CERN's web browser source code, proposing that they can build something bigger. Everyone except Tom supports Joe's idea. Tom and Joe argue, and the conflict becomes physical. Gordon warns Joe that old personal grudges might ruin the project before it starts. Donna offers Cameron a chance to oust Joe, but Cameron says she can no longer work with Donna. Donna leaves, letting Cameron take ownership of the project. Joe, Gordon, and Cameron then take the first steps into building the project, determined to move forward despite past conflicts and betrayals. 3 years after their meeting about the World Wide Web, Joe and Gordon have started a new company called CalNect, an internet service provider, in the old Mutiny offices. Joe grows frustrated when Gordon shows him Mosaic, a new browser gaining popularity, because their own browser, Lodestar, is still incomplete. Cameron is working on Lodestar and also on a new game called Pilgrim, but during a focus group, she notices that testers are unenthusiastic and unengaged, which leaves her frustrated. Gordon throws a large backyard party for his 40th birthday, featuring Blue Man Group. At the party, Diane warns Bosworth that if CalNect expands west, they will face stiff competition from America Online. After Cameron delivers the final version of Lodestar to Joe, he suddenly gets an idea about creating a way to index every website on the internet, seeing the potential of search before anyone else. Meanwhile, Donna meets with a startup called Rover at her venture capital firm, AGGE, and funds them after they pitch using their existing medical database algorithm to index websites. Cameron tells Joe that her ex, Tom, has left her, and she confirms she won't return to Japan. Joe and Cameron reconcile, both professionally and personally, over the last 3 years' events. Donna sets up an incubator for Rover, assigning her assistant, Tanya, to oversee it. At CalNect, Gordon discovers that his younger daughter, Haley, has been skipping school. Bringing her to the office, he finds the company struggling with bandwidth after switching to a flat monthly rate to compete with AOL. Gordon tasks Haley with organizing Joe's research, and she creates a web directory called Haley's Comet. Donna complains to Diane about a new senior partner, Trip, being added to AGGE. Meanwhile, Atari informs Cameron that they are shelving Pilgrim indefinitely. CalNect's customer service grows overwhelmed, and Gordon contacts their backbone provider, MCI, to increase capacity, but MCI refuses, hinting they plan to launch their own ISP. Bosworth confides to Gordon that a bad real estate deal wiped out his savings. At the newly renamed AGGEK, Donna reluctantly brings Bosworth in to manage Rover at the insistence of the other partners, much to Tanya's disappointment. Facing growing pressure from AOL and MCI, Gordon decides to sell CalNect. Joe notices Haley's work on Comet and wants to buy it, but Haley refuses, insisting she wants to continue developing it herself. Joe and Gordon argue over her independence, with Gordon reminding Joe of his tendency to push people too far. In the end, Haley keeps control of Comet, with the condition that she can step away whenever she stops having fun. Atari discovers that Pilgrim was leaked to a gaming magazine and receives harsh criticism. Cameron admits responsibility. Donna grows unhappy with Rover's progress, and Diane reprimands her for being too harsh on Tripp and the team. Donna hosts a dinner at her house to ease tensions, where Tripp points out Comet is now competing with Rover. During dinner, Donna learns that Gordon and Haley are also competing against her company. At Comet, Joe and Gordon evaluate Rover and find it underwhelming. Cameron informs Joe that Comet needs a better algorithm as the web continues to expand, potentially reaching millions of sites. At AGGEK, Tanya and Bosworth argue with Donna about launching Rover too early in response to Comet. To improve Comet's indexing, Joe and Gordon hire Dr. Katie Herman as chief ontologist. Rover requests Series A funding to stay competitive, but Donna hesitates. Joe and Gordon consider but ultimately reject venture capital for Comet. Cameron buys land and a used Airstream trailer, and when she struggles with plumbing issues, Bosworth helps her and reveals his personal debts, and Rover struggles. Cameron assists with Rover's algorithm. Eventually, Donna grants Series A financing to Rover, but grows suspicious about the origins of their new indexing algorithm. Donna questions Rover's lead programmer, Cecil, about the algorithm, while Gordon and Katie begin a relationship. At Comet, Joe worries Rover's funding will give them a serious advantage. Donna freezes new hires until Cecil provides specifications for copyright reasons. Tom unexpectedly arrives at Cameron's trailer to finalize their divorce, giving them closure. Bosworth asks Cameron for the algorithm source code, but she refuses to protect her conflict of interest with Joe. Later, Donna realizes Cameron wrote the algorithm after questioning Bosworth in the hospital following his heart attack. Cameron admits to Joe that she helped Bosworth. Gordon tells Donna that Bosworth is $300,000 in debt, explaining his desperate search for assistance. Donna fires Cecil from Rover to bring in an outside programmer to reverse engineer Cameron's algorithm. As Haley's birthday arrives, Cameron tells Gordon she wants to leave tech. Haley sends her a link to a fan site for her work, reigniting Cameron's confidence. Cameron meets Alexa Vaughn, who offers financial support for a new project. Gordon discovers Haley is failing classes and insists she focus on school, but she refuses. Joe argues Haley isn't like other teens and needs Comet, though Gordon disagrees. Bosworth admits his bad real estate investment and that Cameron helped with Rover's algorithm. Diane orders Donna to buy Cameron's code and give Rover control to Tripp. Cameron agrees but refuses compensation, sensing Donna is in turmoil. Cameron begins working on a new game for Alexa, leaving little time for Joe. Bosworth and Diane marry at Palo Alto City Hall. Donna tells Gordon that Rover is outperforming Comet in traffic, but believes user retention is crucial for long-term success. Gordon uses this insight to improve Comet, turning it into a web portal. Diane reveals she plans to retire from AGGEK. Gordon admits Joe was right about Haley, allowing her to return to Comet. Joe and Donna clash over her actions, but eventually reconcile professionally. As Gordon prepares for a date with Katie, he experiences hallucinations of the past. Donna calls, but Katie answers and tells her Gordon has died. Joe and Cameron face uncertainty over Comet. Donna, Joni, and Haley go to Gordon's house to pack his belongings. Joe and Cameron arrive later to help. While cleaning Joni's room, Donna discovers unsent college applications and presses her for answers, but Joni refuses to discuss it. Cameron tries to help Joni, with limited success. Haley asks Donna about Gordon's green sweater, and Joe reveals he donated all his father's clothing to Goodwill. Katie visits, announcing she's leaving Comet for Seattle. Donna and Cameron attempt reconciliation over a decade of conflicts. Joni confides in Haley about her college reluctance, and Haley tells her she may be a lesbian. Bosworth visits to cook chili, and the group reminisces about Gordon while sharing a meal. At Comet, Joe prepares the site's relaunch, aiming to integrate with Netscape and become its default search engine. Diane visits Donna, pushing her to decide whether to take the managing partner role. Haley lashes out at Joe for profiting from Comet. Donna hesitates to accept the position, but both Cameron and Haley convince her to do so. Bosworth receives a clean bill of health and tells Diane he wants to travel the world with her. Joe and Cameron review Netscape's beta version and discover a link to Yahoo, realizing Netscape has partnered with Yahoo as their default search provider. The next morning, Joe and Cameron break up. Donna becomes managing partner at AGGEK, and Tripp informs her that Comet is effectively finished. Recognizing Comet cannot compete with Yahoo, Joe shuts down the company. Donna revamps a GGEK and renames it Symphonic Ventures. After a failed overseas business trip, Cameron ends her work with Alexa. She begins packing her Airstream, planning to leave California. She stops at Joe's apartment to return his belongings, only to find he has already moved out. Cameron then visits Donna, learning that Joe had written to Haley. When Haley's hard drive crashes, Donna and Cameron work together to try to recover it. Cameron suggests they collaborate again, surprising Donna. At a tech gala promoting women in the industry, Donna refers to Cameron as my last and best partner. On the morning Cameron plans a cross-country trip, Donna meets her for breakfast at a diner. While paying the bill, Donna seems to have an epiphany. Meanwhile, Joe has returned to New York and works as a humanities teacher at a prep school. And just like that, the Clark crew, Joe, Cameron, and Donna finally hang up their keyboards, at least for now. Some end up teaching, some chasing dreams across continents, and some, looking at you, Haley, face crushes that are apparently more terrifying than coding a search engine. Life moves on, the internet keeps spinning, and somewhere, Joe is probably silently judging Netscape. See you in the next recap.